Hi everybody. Good morning. How are you? Is this clean or dirty? Oh, I think it's clean. Oh, that's exciting. It is clean. You like my hat? Thank you. Thank you. Gotta rep my girl today. Yes, now we wait, Danny. It's okay. I voted about a week and a half ago by mail because I have a doctor's appointment today and I knew I wouldn't be able to do both time-wise. But, voting is voting. It doesn't matter if it's early by mail, whatever. A vote is a vote, friends. A vote is a vote. That being said, I think it's pretty clear because my state is her home state. I don't really have to worry about this state for her. My shirt, I'll show you. Hold on. That's funny. Look at this. It says, hello, excuse me, is it February yet? And it's got a little baby peeking out to say hello. She's trying to get out. She's always trying to get out of my belly button these days. Okay, well, let's make some coffee. I know, it's so cute, right? Yeah, it was really funny. When we were in Germany, my mom sent me a text message that said, can you send me a picture of my granddaughter waving at me? And we were like, what? She's in utero, what? And I was like, you know what? And I went and I changed into this shirt and we sent her a picture of this with the baby waving. And I was like, there you go. That's as good as it's gonna get. And then when Miles was trying to get out, yeah, well, you know. Hey, here's the thing, Becca. In the end, yours turned out okay. Your babies came out perfectly in the end. So whatever they tried to do, it worked. And Miles is a genius, so whatever he had planned, maybe his plan was the right plan, because he's literally a genius. I don't know. I guess we'll just find out what she wants to do, when she wants to come out. She's gonna come out when she feels like it. There's a woman here on TikTok whose journey I've been following. She's very pregnant. Guys, she's at 40 weeks and 5 days right now. She thought she was in labor yesterday, went to the hospital, and then after 9 hours, they sent her home. This poor woman, I feel for her so much. She just wants to be done, and I get it. She's 40 weeks and 5 days is too many days to be pregnant. My 18-year-old son voted, oh, that's amazing, Danny. I love that. Tell him congratulations from all of us, and we're happy to have him in the fold. Yeah, 40 weeks and 5 days, and she's she's doing everything right. She's trying, but what can you do, right? The baby's she, I don't know what she's having. She hasn't said, which is fine. That's her business. The baby's in there, and the baby just doesn't want to come out. And it's so funny. She's in good spirits about it. I got to tell you, this woman has a good attitude. She's probably got a better attitude than I would have in her situation, because if I was almost a full week overdue, I'd be complaining pants. Did you have the shirt with the baby coming out custom made? No, I didn't. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Andrea. I bought it on Temu for $4, and it's actually very comfortable, and I wear it all the time. But because it was so cheap, I don't care if I accidentally spill something on it or get slime on it or whatever, so I wear it all the time. I talked with someone that was pregnant for over 41 weeks with her singles and 37 weeks with triplets. Those babies probably came out big. 37 weeks with triplets? What are we even talking about? How do you even stand up with 37 weeks with triplets? How do you even stand at that point? Are you just what do you do? I feel like I'm not even going to be able to stand in a few weeks. I don't know. That feels like a lot. And that's only because the doctor was like, let's go. Yeah, no, for real. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm gonna celebrate this beautiful morning with positivity and cookie butter. I am going to put positivity into the world and cookie butter into my coffee. That's what we're doing today. We're being positive today, you guys. Yeah, I wouldn't think they would. We are gonna be positive. We are gonna be happy. We are gonna think it all through, and we're gonna eat cookie butter. If anyone doesn't know me and they're on this and they're like, you crazy woman, why are you eating cookie butter in the morning while you're pregnant? It's sugar-free, so like whatever. There's nothing in this. It's like fake cookie butter. But enjoy your life. Don't let people stop you. 9:15, terrible. Tell them don't they know you have plans? Look at that. That's a perfect 4. That's a perfect 4. I give myself an A+ for that 4 today. I perfectly guessed the measurement of this coffee. I told my kids this morning I didn't care what they ate, just go. Be like, get out of here, kiddos. I can't with y'all this morning. Let's see if I can perfectly guess the 4 for my coffee. Seems unlikely, but we're gonna give it a try. Morning, Mina. Morning, Liz. How's everyone today? Did you sure two of them made a cupcake? I mean, listen, they're belatedly celebrating their 5th birthday. It's a big deal. You love my hat? Thank you. I also love my hat. Yeah, I'm just trying to put some positivity out there, you know, and this hat felt like a good way to be positive. You know, it does what I want it to do. That was so hot. I just burnt the crap out of my tongue because I'm a dummy-dumb. But that's okay. We can't win them all. Can't win them all. But we can win this one. We can't win the not burning our tongue. Yeah, I should know better with science. It's true. What else is going on today? So I've been seeing a lot of people say that they need like a really good distraction today. I am going to be making those iceberg slimes today. Yeah, I agree, Nikki. I agree. But not necessarily the brain cells on the tongue. That's hilarious, Becca. I mean, not, but like also kind of funny. I wore like blue hair ties, a blue hat, and then I'm wearing all black because it's the death of the patriarchy and it's their funeral and it's okay. I'm okay with celebrating their funeral in all black. And if you're Mina and you're me, Black and Blue is a Backstreet Boys album. I commented on your video, but can you make a Wicked Keychain pop socket? I don't know how I would do that. That's a great question, Aisa. Yeah, also, I'm okay with hiding. Yeah, well, of course. I'm off to make a ton of charms. I'm going to say hi. Hello. You should make a video of yourself making the charms so we can all see it, but not the ones for the advent calendar, of course, because those are a surprise. Guys, you guys, 2 cups of coffee in a row, perfectly measured. That's amazing, Sophie. Can we talk about how that's good luck? 2 for 2. It's a good day, you guys. 2 for 2. And the cups were not the same size. These cups are not the same size. That just means I'm guessing things correctly today. That's right, we're gonna claim that good energy, you guys. All we can do is that with your Wicked keychain you got in the counter. I know, but I don't know how I would turn it into a pop socket. It's like really floppy and long. It's not like a firm material, Naisa. I feel like it would like, I don't know how I would get it to stay. I found an unopened 8-ounce Glinda. It's my work slime for today. Yeah. If I had to guess, most people in my community are probably going to kill a slime or 2 today, which is totally fine. Okay, let's get this up here. All right. So, how's everyone feeling? Should we take a collective deep breath? Like, are we okay? Like, it's fine, right? We're fine. It's okay. Like, everything's fine. Yeah, slime at the ready. Miles is gonna be crushed. Wait, why is Miles gonna be crushed? What did we do to Miles? I feel like we treat Miles pretty well in this household. I found his slime on the counter, didn't put it in the jar. Oh, sweet baby. The bump's good, Jess. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much. What was I gonna tell you all? I don't know. I can't remember. I feel calm, but that's anxiety meds this morning. Yeah, my sister, who also takes anxiety meds, is on like an extra dose this week. Oh, thank you so much for asking, Jess. That's very kind of you. I am very well today. We get to see our baby today on a scan, so that's a really exciting moment for any parent, of course. We haven't seen her in a month. We get to see how much she's grown. Yeah, Becca, just let him make another one. Just put on one of my videos from like last year making butter slime and let him follow it. No, I need a fresh coffee. Yes, yes, yes. Becca, Secret Husband always records the whole thing anyway, so we'll have pictures. Don't even worry about that. So good morning to all. Welcome, welcome. Yes, it's a baby sighting. She's been very active this week, so let's see if she's active on her scan today. Maybe we'll get a video. Hi, Joss, you did join. Welcome, welcome. If anyone on here follows me on Goodreads and sees that I finished another book this morning called Witchy Coffee, I sadly have to say I don't recommend that book, which is such a bummer. I hate reading books that are like a letdown. The thing about this book that I want to tell you is the writing is good. Okay? Yeah, such a good title. The writing is good. She has a good hold on the language. There weren't like, it's not like one of those situations where you're like, oh, this person just doesn't know how to write. She obviously knows how to write, but what happened in this book, in my opinion, is that it felt like she was setting up a story, and then it got about halfway through and she like forgot the storyline, and then just, bye Shara, see you later, and then just like, I saw it, Sophie, I added you back. And then she just rushed to finish it and like tied up all the ends without completing the story. But like, I was like, what? I was so confused this morning. I was like, did I miss a chapter somewhere? I like went back to make sure I'm not crazy. I was like, what happened? I think it was self-published, Becca, so I don't know about that. I don't know what anyone's experience is with those things, but like there was no payoff. Like when you read a book, I know Becca, me too. When you read a book, especially like a cozy witchy rom-com, you expect there to be like a lovable payoff, and there was no payoff. Hey Kimberly. So I was kind of bummed by that, and the biggest bummer was that it's a good writer, you know? Part of me wants to give another book of hers a chance just to see what happens, but the problem is her entire series takes place like in the same universe, and so I'm like, I don't know, do I really want to bother? I don't know. I'm listen, you guys, I read a lot. I've read over 100 books this year. I'm not like someone who doesn't know like what I like in reading. And I read a variety of things. So I was just disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say. I was disappointed that it just dropped off, you know? The really cool thing that I thought was gonna be exciting about it is she doesn't use the same name, Astoria, but like based on the way that she described the town in her book, I think it's a fictional town based on the town where my book also takes place. I really think it is, because she talked about how far it is from Portland, where it is in conjunction to everything else in Oregon. Like it was pretty obvious. She was like, oh, on like the farthest North Peninsula. Did you have anxiety as a child? Absolutely, I had anxiety as a child. I was a shy, nervous, anxious child who hid behind my mom's legs and got scared of everything. So yes. Yeah, it really felt like it was meant. They renamed it. Yes, of course, Becca. They renamed it in the book but she also, like, at the very end of the book, and it came out of nowhere. This was another one of those things where I was like, that literally came. I don't know any of you who, you know what, I'm not going to say any spoil. Is there anyone in here who hasn't read my book and is planning to read it? Because I don't want to give a spoiler to anyone who hasn't, but if everyone in here either has read it or is like Becca and doesn't read, I can give you the spoiler. But if anyone in here is either planning to read it or in the process of reading it, I don't want to give a spoiler. Okay, then I won't say it, Sophie, never mind. I'll say this. There is something that happens in Astoria in history, a real thing, okay? So it's not something I made up. It was a real thing that actually happened in Astoria, and I reference it in my book, and she also references it in her book, which is so cool. And I loved that, and that's why I was like, this is definitely Astoria, right? Even though she renamed it. But like, when she mentions it at the end of her book, like in my book, it's like a through line and it means something in my book. In her book, it just like came out of nowhere. And I was like, I mean, it's cool. I love that you're doing this. You're a good writer. You obviously did your research. What happened? What happened? You know, I was like, well, what are we doing here? Because she's right. It really did happen. I don't know. I was just confused. But that's just me. So the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I always have people on here asking about books and stuff that we read and everything. So if you haven't followed me on Goodreads, there's a link in my bio to my Goodreads. I add everybody. I don't care. It's not like other socials where like, you know, okay, Rosemary just added me, you know, like on here, like I can't have open DMs because I get spam. No one is sending people spam on Goodreads. You know what I mean? So like on Goodreads, I can add everybody. I added Becca and she doesn't even read. But Becca comes to book club. So can we give her a round of applause for trying? Let's give Becca a round of applause because even though she doesn't read, she's here and she listens. We love to see it. We love it. She said, you know what, my friend wants to start a book club, so I'm gonna join. And then she fell in love with some of the books. See, you never know, but you never know. You came for me and you ended up loving some of the books, right? Right? I think my hat is too big, you guys. I think I need to tighten it because it keeps like flopping around. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. The like floppiness was starting to give me a headache. Okay, we're better. That's so much better. I feel like I can see again. Okay, so we're on chapter 2 today. We are reading a book. Good, that's right. Came for the slime, started reading again. That's amazing, Danny. Like, what a great feeling. I think Anya said the same thing. Didn't you say that also, Anya, that you came obviously for slime, but like the book club got you back into reading a lot? Like, isn't that a beautiful feeling? I freaking love that. Becca listens to a solid 24 books a year. That's right. That's right. Becca listens to a solid 24 books a year, which is more than a lot of people do. That's right. So yeah, anyway, let's read chapter 2 of this book. But, well, Becca, you can at least know that you paid attention to at least 8 of them because you know you paid attention to the entire Land of Stories series. So take the win. Take the win. And here we go, chapter 2. It had been nearly 10 years ago when Poppy saw an advertisement in the student union to share a home in a house in Highgate. Older lady who loves to nurture plants, cats, and people, seeking a fun young person to share a house that is far too big for me. Hey Lauren, everyone say hi to my friend Lauren. What Iris hadn't said was that she was a witch and that she targeted Poppy specifically with that ad. Well, no one else had seen it, dear, she said when Poppy ventured in to wonder why Iris wasn't inundated with other offers. Her house was massive, it was ornate and fascinating, and it had a large private garden and even off-street parking. Poppy had tried to work out its value online, but it didn't appear to have been sold for many decades. It was at least twice the size of any house nearby, and the prices of those made her eyes water. Well, I posted that advert just for you, Iris said calmly, pouring Poppy some more tea in a lovely light-filled conservatory. Put a charm on it, and no one who wasn't a witch could even notice it. Poppy smiled nervously and prepared to humor this mad old woman. Yeah, sure. Iris looked very polished, and her house was certainly in no need of any able-bodied student help to keep it clean or anything, but she was certainly a few spanners short of a toolkit if she thought they were real witches. Witch? She said. Well, yes, dear. Iris looked at her expectantly and then sighed. Oh, dear, I had a feeling you didn't know. Did you had a religious upbringing, was that it? Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, my mom's a vicar, but, oh, is she now? Very modern, I must say. I suppose this might come as a bit of a shock to you then. Iris took a sip of her tea and ran her hand over the vase of flowers on the table. Each perfect lily and exquisite rose seemed to bloom brighter as she did, and they all unfurled right in front of her. Hey, wait a second. How did you... Oh, I nurture things, Iris said as a plump kitten wandered in. Kittens, plants, grudges. She flashed a smile at Poppy. Do you like cats? I mean, yeah, I like all animals, said Poppy. Oh my gosh, please. These rando people from like who knows where are always trying to get in here and I'm like, mute. Why? I mean, I like all animals, said Poppy as the kitten regarded her with its head to one side. It was thinking her hair looked fun, and it just wanted to play with it like a tassel on top of her. Well, they probably would be fun, Malkin, said Iris, but don't go snagging the fabric, do you hear me now? Poppy smiled, and then her brain caught up with her ears, and she stared at Iris. Well, communication with animals is a prime witch trait, Iris said, sipping more tea. I tend to hear them as a sort of stream of consciousness, but my friend Sylvia says it's more like being shown a montage of images for her. What is it like for you? I sort of just, I guess I know what they want, Poppy said. It's just their body language, isn't it? But she knew it wasn't. She knew most people didn't understand animals the way that she did. And she also knew that most people didn't have hair that literally had a mind of its own and that they hadn't spent their childhoods playing with ghosts in the churchyard. Her mother said that she had an overactive imagination. Her father wondered if it was ADHD. Her teachers had mostly told her off for not paying attention and always forgetting her homework. Iris was the first one of those who'd ever said anything that made any sense. She looked up and met Iris's steady blue gaze. Hey, if I'm a witch, shouldn't I be able to fly, like, on a broomstick? And she cast about for memories from books and films, like make things glow and lights with my hands or something like that. Iris shrugged. Oh, certainly you can try, but that's not very useful. Lighting a candle is useful, though. She nodded to the tea light on the table, and it bloomed into a steady, pale flame. Broomsticks are not particularly viable as a thing here in London, but maybe we can go and visit our sisters in Essex and you can try to fly a broom there. What else? I suppose you want to know about potions? Poppy shrugged helplessly. Some witches are very good at them, some are terrible. You, however, are quite creative, so you might indeed have a knack. Cauldrons are optimal, she added before Poppy could even ask. I do prefer a saucepan. Cats, as we've covered, wands and staffs, not much use unless you really need to wield a phallic symbol, if you know what I mean. What is your gender identity? She continued as if querying Poppy was about her favorite brand of lip balm. I'm cisgender. She, her, said Poppy, who had only left her provincial town a few months ago and was still very much getting grips with the concepts of gender identity. I might be bi, though. Oh, yes, well, all the best people are, Iris said. Now, most witches tend to have a particular affinity to one area of witchcraft. Not all, but most. As I said, I nurture things, I help them grow, such as, if you let me, I could help you. I'm sure we can find out where your particular talents lie, can't we? Poppy added a smile and nodded at that, and 10 years later, she had still never discovered a talent for anything other than making a mess. A very big mess. Alex had intended to buy Yelena a present that afternoon. He'd gone for a walk to clear his head before the opening night performance and tried to think of what he would say to her that didn't sound like he was breaking up with her, which he wasn't, because they weren't a couple, and he thought he had been clear about that. In fact, he was really sure that he had said something kind of like, well, this is just for fun, right at the start, but maybe fun meant something different to someone in Poland. That day had turned dull and overcast, which figured. His opening night performance was going to feature a Valkyrie who just hated his guts. Oh God, we should have done previews instead of going in cold from Edinburgh, he thought. But then what? The press would have seen a sulky Yelena and then written about it, and then people would just come to laugh at him, and the laughter was the death of a show like his. And then, as he was mooching through Covent Garden and wondering, I wonder if mooching means something different to them, because it sounds like he's walking through Covent Garden, but they use the word mooching, like we would say like mooch off of someone. That must mean something different. There's a joke that Polish people always complain, and I've seen it, that's really funny, Anya. I didn't know that, but that's funny. And then he was mooching through Covent Garden and wondering if he'd had enough calories left in today's allowance for a tiny gin and slimline. But a magic shop had glowed out of the gloom, enticing him in to meander or wander aimlessly. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See? Jen knows. What can be very important is seeing what you're drawn to, went through his mind. He'd gone in to look at a deck of cards, the trick ropes, the magic hats, just like in the great Menfico's treasure chest. And then a brightly drawn tarot card deck had caught his eye, and next thing he knew, he was having a conversation about the merits of Lapis Lazuli versus Aventurine. The internet knows, that's fair. His mind drifted back to the mad woman with the Rapunzel hair who had knocked over half of the inventory. He had never seen hair like that before. It had to be fake, because no mane in nature was that thick and that long. A lion would even be jealous of it. A lion probably wouldn't even have bits of broomsticks and horseshoes stuck in its mane, though. She'd been very, distracting. And now he carried an exquisite little gift bag with real silk ribbons and flower petals and all that. And he still had no idea what he was actually going to say to Yelena when he gave it to her. Rapunzel told me this would bring you enlightenment. No, that doesn't sound right. Shirley, he said to the floor manager, do you have a pen and paper? Thank you, Kaylee. Well, of course, Shirley did have a pen and paper, and Alex wrote a little note. To my friend Yelena, and he emphasized how much her friendship meant to him in terms that he hoped were pretty unambiguous even in her second language. You're a cop-out, Alex Rain, he told himself as he folded the note and tucked it back into the bag. But a cop-out who had a show to perform, and he needed everyone on their A-game. He should probably have been giving them a pep talk, but that was really Jono's job, right? And he was good at it. Alex had to make sure that his hair hadn't gone flat in all the gloom and mist of this afternoon, and he also had to avoid Yelena. I have to go and, meditate, he said, and Shirley gave him a knowing look as he dashed off. The house where Poppy lived with Iris was somewhat appropriately named Ivy Cottage. Somewhat because ivy festooned the place, but also not because the house was about the size of 17 cottages all stuck together. It was fronted by an outrageously Gothic gatehouse, bearing stone nymphs and gargoyles and inscriptions in Latin, the iron gates wrought in writhing ivy and spiking holly. The effect was slightly spoiled by the wheelie bins outside, awaiting Poppy's attention to tidy them away into the courtyard. She tried to rehearse what to say to Iris as she lugged them inside one by one. Hey, here, listen, okay, funny thing, I might have accidentally put a spell on a necklace that we sold in the shop today. Yeah, that would go down well. Okay, how about this? You know how I was really upset at Claudia last night? Maybe like heartbroken even? Pause for sobbing here. Well, heartbreak usually affects us all differently, and wait. Poppy stopped with her hands as she shed the door latch. Okay, so, you know how you put something in Herbert's tea when you found out that he had been cheating on you? Well, I did something similar to that, only I didn't do it to my ex. I did it to a random stranger who has probably gone and given it to his ridiculously hot girlfriend, and she'll now get, like, hit by a bus or something really terrible like that. Who will, dear? Poppy swore and stumbled and tripped over her own feet, pulling the recycling bin down on top of herself. Well, at least the bin was empty, said Iris. Oh, yes, we did, Jennifer. It was of middling height and absolutely,
Iris was of middling height and absolutely indeterminate amount of years. Her long gray hair was usually coiled into some elegant style that Poppy never could have achieved in a million years with her own hair, and she dressed with jeweled or tortoiseshell combs. Today, she channeled Katharine Hepburn in her outfit of choice, and her eyeliner was immaculate. Poppy, sprawled on the damp flagstone of the garden path, rain seeping through her skirt to soak her bum, wondered if she would ever achieve a fraction of Iris's poise, even if she lived for the rest of eternity. "Bad day," her landlady had said. Yeah, something like that," said Poppy, as her hair began to make friends with the yogurt pot that had stuck to the lid of the bin. "Well, did anyone die today?" "Thank you, Dalton. Everyone say hi. We have a celebrity in the house. Hey, what up?" Dalton and I have known each other for so many years. It's almost ridiculous. And I only just recently found out that he's like almost our age, which is hysterical. His account's awesome. If you want some great ASMR and some fun, relaxy stuff, I highly recommend checking out Dalton's accounts, both here and on YouTube. Anyway, another story for another day, but give it a go. Where was I? "Did anyone die today?" Poppy winced. No, not yet anyway." "Well, then I'll make us some tea," said Iris, and she sauntered back off towards the house. "There's nothing wrong with being chaotic. There's nothing wrong with being chaotic," she said to herself. Iris had said that to her shortly after she moved in. She had also told her, "Chaos is necessary and healthy for growth. It brings creativity and breathes new life into stale order." Wait. This is an amazing quote for today. Can we make this our quote for today? Hold up. Iris might be a genius. Let's read this line again and manifest it today. "Chaos is necessary and healthy for growth. It brings creativity and breathes new life into stale order." Let's go. Let's effing go. Bring the chaos, girl. I want her to. I want her to rain chaos down on everyone. All right, let's go. It was just, okay, sometimes Poppy could do with like a tad less chaos though. Same girl, same. When she was 13, a cute boy called Lee had kissed her behind the bike sheds at school, and Poppy had been walking on air after that. Always an issue if you were a witch. And for the rest of the school day, until she'd overheard Lee's friend Ryan congratulating him on scoring with a weirdo and handing over what very much looked like a $5 bill. At university, she developed a crush on a glamorous post-grad called Sadie and had been absolutely thrilled when she asked Poppy along to a party at her digs. Poppy had screwed up courage enough to the sticking place and asked her out, only for Sadie to laugh in a pitying manner and inform her that girls like me don't go out with girls like you. I'm about to go get an eagle costume when she wins and run around the streets. That's right. Listen, if she wins, I will deck my home out in the American flag. Let's go. I don't even care. Red, white, and blue for days. Then there was Craig, whose social media revealed him to have been seeing 3 different girls at the same time as Poppy, although none of the other girls seemed to mind. And then there was Edward, whose father was a baronet, who had messed around with Poppy and then told her he was marrying a stunningly beautiful model. And then there was Stacy, who went on a few dates with Poppy and then told her she was just too weird, and promptly started shagging some girl who kept her own blood in a vial around her neck, and Poppy was the weird one? Poppy had tried really hard not to lash out at any of them for hurting her, and apart from 13-year-old Lee spilling his can of Fanta all over his lap, it looked like he wet himself, she largely had succeeded in not bothering anyone. She tried to keep her chaos to herself and channeled it into the jewelry that she sold in the Hubble Bubble. And she tried not to be devastated every time someone that she fancied let her down. Most of them were just silly crushes anyway. Nothing had been serious until Claudia, well, Poppy had fallen in love with Claudia, and Claudia had effed some woman who looked like she'd gone out on a Claudia looked like she'd gone out on week 3 of The Apprentice, and now there was a cursed pendant causing God only knew what kind of havoc around town. Oh, Claudia got sent home week 3 of The Apprentice. The signs are imminent, you guys. They're everywhere. I love it. The bins were safely stored, and Poppy chucked her rain-soaked clothes into the laundry and put some comfy leggings and a sweater on instead. Her hair agreed that it would allow her to tie it back with a scrunchie, which was a relief, since it had been doing whatever it wanted to get into her face all day. But downstairs, she found Iris in the massive greenhouse, carefully and gently coaxing seedlings to climb a twisting frame. I know, right? It's amazing, Naisa. "Look, it makes the shape of a witch's hat," she said. "Leroy at the allotments made this just for me. Isn't he clever?" Poppy, who could definitely have made this for Iris if she had asked, smiled and said, "Yeah, very. I reckon he's a bit sweet on you, don't you think, Iris?" "Who, Leroy?" Iris scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous. At his age?" Since Poppy had no idea what Leroy's age was, and she'd never been able to even guess within a decade of what Iris's was, she just shrugged. "Well, there's tea in the pot," Iris went on, waving at the tea tray, "and I brought the gin, too. Now, tell me why someone might get hit by a bus today, and if it's going to be upsetting, do stay away from the plants, dear. You know what happened last time with your hair." Poppy took a seat on one of the little wrought iron benches and drank her gin-laced tea while she told Iris what had happened that afternoon and what she thought had happened the night before. "Yeah, got drunk, and then you accidentally cursed an object and forgot about the object," Iris summarized as Poppy tailed off. "Well, we've all been there. Now, this man that you think Elsbeth sold the pendant to, I don't think," Poppy said. "I know. I couldn't feel the magic once he'd left. I just didn't realize it to begin with." Iris nodded. "But you do know who he is?" Poppy shrugged helplessly. "I mean, I know his name. At least I know his stage name. Nobody can actually be called Axel Storm, right? Can they?" Iris made a so-so motion with her hand, and then she pruned a cutting fraction of an inch. "Oh, you say that, but I did once know a fellow named Castle who called his daughter Windsor. I suppose Axel Storm can't be very difficult to find, can he? Perhaps we could do something of a location spell. Been years since I did one of those for a person, not for phone or keys, you see, but yeah, well, we might not need to." Miserably, Poppy brought out her phone and showed Iris the picture that she had taken of the advertisement on the side of the bus. "Axel Storm is a spellbinder," Iris read in a dramatic tone of voice. 5 stars, Edinburgh Festival, international sensation, raw sexual magnetism, I do say." She peered closer. "He does remind me of someone. Do you think those are his real eyes?" "No, his eyes are blue," said Poppy, trying not to think about how much more attractive he'd been in person than these absurd posters. Iris peered over her glasses. "Oh, I see," she said, and then straightened up. "Well, that's simple then. We just go along to the Mysterio tonight and retrieve the necklace ourselves." Tonight? Poppy had cycled past the Mysterio on her way home. People were already queuing up outside for returns under the smoldering gaze of Axel Storm himself. Iris nodded at the screen. "Well, that's where his new show is opening." She glanced at her watch. "We've just enough time to get there just before the curtain goes up, and we could slip backstage and steal the item ourselves." "Iris," Poppy said. "Oh, yes, I could distract them. A bit of real magic, and you'll slip in, wear something black, like in those Tom Cruise films. Iris! Or maybe I'll do the stealing. Nobody ever suspects an old lady. How's your femme fatale?" Iris said, and she eyed Poppy in her leggings and hoodies and her hair full of twigs. "Oh, no. Maybe I could rustle up some sort of glamour spell for you." "Iris!" Poppy said. "No!" Iris heaved a dramatic sigh and pointed her secateurs? I don't know that word. Secateurs at Poppy. "Oh, well, you're no fun. I suppose we'll just buy tickets then. Do be a lamb and call us an Uber, would you?" Poppy stared at her. tickets an hour before opening night to a show with that many 5-star reviews for a guy with so many online fans that they even have a name for themselves? What is it? Iris wanted to know, and she carefully snipped another bit of her ivy. The Storm Chasers. Poppy made a face. Besides, I already checked. It's been sold out for weeks. Iris just snorted. Lovely, she said. We bitches. We can get tickets to anything we want. Scene. How's the crowd? Alex asked Jono, and then he strode past a flock of Gothic Vikings doing warm-up stretches. Oh, great, full, excited. And the critics? Only the nice ones are here. Alex side-eyed him, but the truth was he didn't really want the truth right now, and Jono knew that. They passed a cubby with a sink, and Alex paused. Was he gonna be sick? No, not this time. It wasn't always easy to tell on opening nights. They'd run out of skim milk earlier this afternoon, so his shake had to be made with semi-skim milk, and Alex was pretty sure he'd feel the fat settling in his stomach. On opening night, that was gonna lose him one of his 5 stars, probably. Do you have your lucky socks on? Jono checked as they headed back towards Alex's dressing room. Yep. They had little black cats on them and a hole over his right toe. Lucky pants? Trick question, Alex said, and Jono sighed almost imperceptibly. Because opening night pants are no pants, he recited and added, which is still a weird thing for an Aussie to say, because if you were out there with no pants on, we would need an entirely different type of license. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be Jono. Whatever. Pretend I did that in the Jono voice. Oh, we're in England. Pants go under trousers, said Alex, who had this conversation with Jono 1,000 times and still appreciated it because it took his mind off the myriad of things that could go wrong on stage, especially since now he weighed a whole... Alex tried to do the math of how much weight he would gain from drinking milk with 1% more fat. And then the shake had tasted nicer, though. That wasn't actually saying much because it wasn't very good to begin with. Whatever. You're not wearing undies, and I don't care because you don't do your laundry. Do you have your lucky ring that your great-grandfather passed down to you with all his occult wisdoms? The one that I bought for $1.50 in reality in a dodgy pawn shop in Atlantic City, said Alex and flashed his left hand. I always have it. Secateurs are pruning shears. Oh, see, there you go. I had no idea. Well, now we know. Now we know. And that's what the audience loves about you, said Jono as they reached Alex's dressing room. The authenticity of it all. 10 minutes till places, the stage manager said as she whipped past. Thank you, 10, Alex said as he tensed and listened for the repeat. Thank you, 10, from the next dressing room. But Yelena's voice rang out clearly, and his shoulders relaxed. Well, I really thought she was going to walk out this afternoon, said Jono. And yet she did not, said Alex as he leaned over the dressing table and peered at his eyeliner. Maybe he needed more eyeliner. Yeah, you have worked your magic, said Jono. It is what I do. He looked at himself over critically. The man looking back at him was gorgeous. Alex had devoted the last decade or so to making sure of that. His abs, pecs, and biceps were all perfect. His jawline was sharp and square. There was no trace of Percy Beaker or Sandy Grubb, and there was even less and less of Alex Rain, too. What do you even write in that note? Alex opened his mouth to explain, and he felt the bile rising, and then made it to the sink just in time to get rid of that extra 1% of milk. It's fine, he told himself in his mind. Everyone gets nervous before an opening night. The fact that your #1 supporting cast still hates your guts isn't a factor here. Everyone in theater hates each other, he told himself. But he ignored that voice in the back of his mind that said most people in theater weren't doing stunts that could get them killed if their partner wasn't a snit. What I said was, valued teammate, and then he gasped, trusted friend. And that did it, said Jono with less than his usual tact at this point in the proceedings. 5 minutes to places. Thank you, 5, they both shouted back. Well, it had better do the trick, said Alex, standing up and reaching for the mouthwash. Besides, I gave her a present, and it had what all the best presents have. What's that? Said Jono. Alex checked his hairpiece was secure and his harness clips were all in place and straightened his fake fur cap. Well, authenticity, of course. Scene. Watching Iris work was always an education. Her particular skill set was in making things grow, but she could turn her hand to almost any facet of witchcraft, and right now she was going for some sort of persuasion. That's absolutely right, she said, holding out a blank piece of paper to the usher. The best seats in the house. Center, front of the stalls. Is that it? Wonderful. Do come along, Poppy. Poppy smiled nervously at the dazed usher that she hurried past into the packed auditorium. People got out of Iris's way as she approached. Poppy expected none of them knew that they needed to move elsewhere. They just did it. And Iris sailed right through to their seats, which did seem to be the best seats in the house. The stage was visible. No safety curtain was even apparent. Smoke swirled around what appeared to be a stone monolith inscribed with runes that were almost certainly nonsense and lit dramatically with a shifting array of blues, purples, and greens. Shouldn't we be trying to get backstage right now? Poppy hissed to Iris, who was already settled into her seat and reading the program. Oh, at the interval. I do love theater, Poppy. Yeah, but we're here to get the pendant, and I'm not even sure there is an interval. Iris appeared not to hear her. But he really is a looker, isn't he? I'm sure I must have known his grandfather, you know. That distracted Poppy enough to look over the program. Wait, what? Really? You knew him? Yes, before the war. Café de Paris. Gorgeous chap. Spitting image of this lad, even with the eyeliner. Ever exotic that one was in those days, of course. Now you just see lads on King's Road with the... Yes, sorry, can we help you? That was to a couple who were edging toward them, holding tickets and looking puzzled. Excuse me, I think those are our seats, one of them said hesitantly in the face of Iris's certainty. No, I don't think so, Iris said and turned her attention back to the program. Perhaps there's been a mistake, Poppy apologized, and Iris said without looking up, or perhaps you've got a terrible headache and you need to go back home right now. Immediately, the man put his hand to his head. Oh, my head's killing me, love, he said. Yeah, mine too. Maybe it's the lighting. Maybe we should... Yeah, so sorry to have bothered you. Poppy gave Iris a hard look. That was cruel. These are probably expensive seats that they booked a long time ago. Iris sighed and closed her eyes for a moment. Full refund and rebook tickets on the date of their choice, then, she said and opened her eyes. Are you happy now? Look, it says here he won Best Magic Show at the Adelaide Fringe. Do you think they'd come around with ice creams for us here? Whether or not they would was a question that she didn't get answered, because the lights suddenly dimmed and a voice boomed out from all directions at once. Eros, quarrels, and thralls, it said, and Poppy recognized the resonant voice of Man Bun, only deeper and with some added effects. Welcome to my festival of arcane arts, where seeing is believing and believing is not necessarily seeing. Nothing is as it seems. That doesn't even make any sense, Poppy muttered. Please do remain in your seats for the duration of the show for your own safety, for interfering in a dark ritual can have devastating consequences. Poppy felt, well, rather than saw, Iris's penetrating gaze fall on her, and she sank a little lower in her seat. They should have gone to find the pendant straight away, instead of sitting through this show. Poppy didn't know what she'd enchanted that damn thing to even do, but given her feelings about Claudia last night, it certainly wasn't going to result in puppies and kittens all around. A collective murmur from the audience drew her attention to the stage, where the rock star Viking himself had appeared in leather trousers and exciting makeup, a fur cape that must have been a nightmare to wear under the stage lights. He did some posing to great applause, and then he waffled about arcane arts for a bit while sexy dancers writhed all around him. Poppy wondered what the empty box up to the right was going to be used for. Probably some dramatic disappearance and reveal sequence. I cannot take this seriously, Poppy murmured to Iris, who looked enraptured. She conjured up some popcorn from somewhere. Oh, look at that chest, lovely. You can't say it's not a nice chest. And look at his abs. Is that what they call a six-pack? Someone nearby shushed them, and Iris narrowed her eyes, and the shush abruptly turned into a cough. On stage, Axel Storm was proclaiming that his great magic had angered the gods and he was imprisoned, but he had escaped. And would they like to see how he had escaped? The audience roared that of course they wanted to see how he escaped, and Poppy watched as a cage was brought on, and Axel was chained inside it with great ceremony. It was a nice twist. The cage was then lit on fire. The music that had been throbbing in the background now began to swell. Poppy glanced around the stage where various dancers were writhing and gesturing, and Alex was contorting inside the flaming cell. She wondered if anyone else had noticed the moment during the chaining up part where Axel had been beaten dramatically to the ground to obscure him from view. Trapdoor and a body double, she murmured to Iris. Shh, don't spoil it, Iris hissed, but also yes, probably. Sure enough, after a torturous few minutes, when it looked as if Axel would be consumed by the flames in the cage, a dramatic flare rendered him invisible, and when the light faded, all that was left was the furred cloak and a charred skeleton. The audience gasped. Poppy wondered why Axel's body was supposed to be burned but not the fur cape. Then a spotlight shone on a single sexy Viking hanging from, yes, the empty box on the right. She laughed to herself. But the gods could not confine me, he said, and he appeared to float down to the stage, from whence he carried out an elaborate execution sequence where he seemed to survive a beheading. Someone off to the left screamed when blood spurted across the stage, and Poppy had to stuff her hand in her mouth to keep from giggling. This was ridiculous. Then came the Valhalla sequence, and she'd seen it on Elspeth's phone already. The sexy Valkyrie appeared, descending to the stage on magnificent wings, carrying the fallen warrior in historically iffy armor. Oh my gosh, people are trying to join the live again. Stop it! I don't know you. Whoever you are, you're a rando and we don't know you. Only book club people are allowed to join this live. Jeez Louise. Where was I? And Poppy's smile melted off her face because the Valkyrie was wearing her pendant. It glowed under the stage lights, which wasn't something that Lapis Lazuli usually did. Poppy could feel the magic coming off of it in waves, like a sonar that battled her concentration. They can sit with us, they just can't join the live. Beside her, Iris went still, clutching Poppy's hand. What should we do? Should we do something? But what? Maybe they should leap up and shout. Take off that pendant and its magic, evil, in the middle of the show? If people didn't laugh, they would just think it was a part of the act. But what was the pendant going to do? Poppy didn't think that maybe she had outright cursed it. It was just the sort of thing that she did. She might have maybe blessed it to give the wearer what they deserved. I mean, perhaps, oh yeah, no, it's definitely a Mean Girls reference. But Man Bun, or Axel, whatever, had bought the pendant in search of enlightenment. Would the Valkyrie suddenly be enlightened to something she deserved to be punished for? It seemed like a stretch. She watched on tender hooks as both the Valkyrie and the warrior made it to the ground, and a lot of chanting ensued as he was given the smoking chalice of whatever it was before magically flying off into the fly lines, and the audience gasped. Very smooth, muttered Iris, and Poppy began to relax. Of course her pendant wasn't going to cause anyone harm. It was just a bit of metal and crystal. The worst it could do was what it promised, bring enlightenment. Perhaps the Valkyrie would realize that she was wasting her time in this silly hokey show, or go and get a proper job on the West End, or in the movies, or... A slight gasp from the audience jolted Poppy's attention back to the stage. The Valkyrie was flying in with her next warrior, the one dressed in black, and she appeared to have stopped mid-air. A consummate professional, the unfortunate woman continued pouting and tossing her mane of braids and stiff hair, Whilst on stage, Axel repeated the last verse of his chanting, his hands glowing in a way that Poppy hadn't figured out how he was doing yet. The warrior, dressed in black, gave a theatrical groan. And then they were moving again, and Poppy saw them all relax a bit, right before something exploded in a shower of sparks, and the warrior crashed into the monolith with a scream. The audience applauded. Poppy froze in horror. The Valkyrie, one of her wires evidently severed, swung in a graceful arc across the stage before the second wire snapped and she plummeted helplessly to the stage, tumbling over a steep rake until she crashed into the footlights. Poppy realized she was on her feet when someone loudly said, "Sit down!" And for a second, nobody on the stage moved. And then Axel began shaking. My Valkyrie, what evil has this warrior done to you?" And then he faltered and stopped when the Valkyrie began screaming. Poppy put one foot on the binocular clip of the seat in front and the other on the back seat and ran over a few rows ahead, leaping between audience members. Thank you, aerial ballet class, for that skill. She was on the stage before any of the stagehands or security could even stop her, kneeling by the fallen Valkyrie. Her right arm was bent at an entirely wrong angle, and one of her legs had an extra corner in it now. As the pulsing patterns of colors of the footlights strobed over it, Poppy realized that she could see blood and bone, and she turned away from it all in shock. Her gaze abruptly met Axel's, and she said, "Stop the show and call an ambulance." He swallowed, and for a moment he appeared to have frozen in space. Yelena? He murmured. "That's her name, Yelena? Call her an ambulance right now." Suddenly, feeling perfectly competent, Poppy turned to the audience and projected her voice with her will. "Excuse me, this is not part of the show. Can someone please call an ambulance?" A nervous laugh rippled out from the front row. Poppy could see Iris making her way towards the stage, managing as she did so to perfectly hinder the progress of the theater staff. "It's all right, Yelena," Poppy said soothingly as she could. She gently soothed her hand over Yelena's shoulder and collarbone, the chain of the pendant. "Oh, dear. It will be all right. I need you to lie still. Help is coming for you." Damn it. The clasp that she'd fitted her own self was too secure, and the damn thing just wouldn't come off. Poppy tugged at it a bit, but Yelena whimpered, so she stopped. "Lights up, please," called Alex, and she glanced over to see him leaning over a man who'd crashed into the monolith. "My friends," he addressed the audience in his booming voice, "I regret that this indeed is not a part of the show. Please consider this he was glancing off stage, an impromptu interval. Then make your way out to the theater bar where refreshments will be provided to you. Thank you so much." It was right after those helpful words that the stage's curtains caught on fire. Uh-oh. Well, it's not going well. Not relaxing, but it is entertaining. You have to admit that. I have a proposition to make. Make your proposition, Miss Anya. I take all propositions. I think it's hilarious. I know it's not relaxing, but it's definitely fun and funny. I propose we read until maybe like 9 p.m. Yeah, if I didn't have a doctor's appointment this morning, I would read another chapter, but I do have a doctor's appointment for the baby, so I do have to scooch. So I am gonna go do that. But y'all, we are making icebergs this afternoon, so everyone look out for the icebergs, and I will post those later. Anyone who's on Patreon, we are going to be in the election safe space chat this evening. For anyone who needs to vent or talk or whatever, a lot of us are going to watch V Under the Desk News and her live this afternoon. Their live, I apologize. Although I think maybe they, I'm not actually sure. I don't remember. Let's just go with they. They're live this afternoon, and enjoy that. And just take deep breaths, use your slime. Like I said yesterday, in the 2016 election, I had a lot of really bad habits: skin picking, nail picking, whatever else, you know, like lip picking, whatever, all of those things as a nervous habit due to everything that was going on. Don't fall into the same traps I fell into. You all have slime, use them. Kill the slime instead of your skin. Slime can be replaced. Exactly. We can always make you more slime. That's okay. And you know what? You can also go back. You know what a great thing to do today is? Go back and listen to the readings of Land of Stories. That's our comfort stuff, you guys, right? For book club, I would say Land of Stories is our comfort place. Let's go back and maybe just listen to a little bit of Land of Stories and enjoy that and think positively. And we won't know anything. They, them. Okay, so I stand corrected. It is they, them for V. But I am going to be watching their footage for a little bit tonight, actually. If anyone wasn't with us when we read Land of Stories, it's on my YouTube. It's our comfort book. Live it up. Enjoy it. We will be around to talk. I will be posting those icebergs today, which I was talking to someone else. One of the other creators I follow responded to someone who said, like, today's not the day to post anything that's not serious or whatever like that. And the creator, who I agree with, said, I actually vehemently disagree. Today's the day to post whatever makes you feel good, distractions, etc., and so on, because we need those distractions. And I responded to her, not be this other creator, Melissa, who was saying that, and I said, that's right. Today I'm posting the silliest, most pointless experiments. Do our iceberg experiments actually mean anything? No, of course not. They're just something fun that we do because it's silly, and why not enjoy something silly, right? So today we're gonna make 3 icebergs from 3 completely pointless store-bought slimes because, well, I already wasted the money on the slime, so we might have a little fun, right? And we're gonna turn them into icebergs. We're gonna name those icebergs. Why do we name our icebergs? I don't know. We just decided one day that we were gonna name slimes, and we do now. Let's all just have a little fun. Can someone come and take my children's Halloween candy? It's a little bit far of a drive for me personally, but like, I got nothing on that one. I love you dearly, though. If I was closer by, maybe. I don't know. Can you tell them the Easter Bunny took it? That seems inefficient as a lie. Mostly considering your children's ages. They're not going to believe you. Yes, I also practice a sugar-free lifestyle. Make them hate the Easter Bunny. Yeah, see, there you go. Look, it is what it is. Okay, I love you all. I will be literally available in chat all day. Switch widget, that's the way to go. I'm totally gonna do that as a mom. Not even kidding. I'm gonna be like, I mean, here's the problem though. I can't use slime as a mom because my child's gonna be in a house that's full of slime. So how am I supposed to be like, here honey, give me your candy and you can have slime? She'll be like, great, more slime? Cool, mom, cool. So I have to come up with something else to switch for her. So anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, whatever she's more into. I'm crossing my fingers that what she's into is like Broadway merch. Do we think we can make that happen? Do we think we can convince her to be into like Broadway merch? And I'll just be like, look, here's a new t-shirt. Stickers, I love stickers. I'm a huge sticker fan. Okay, I'm gonna go and eat a little breakfast before I have to go to this doctor's appointment because no blood work today, so it's not a big deal. I will be on chat literally all day, just as like a comfort thing. Orders are getting packed today. Don't worry, I'm still working all day, but like, I feel like we just need to be there for each other in like a really loving way. So after the appointment, I'll be back. I'll make icebergs. We'll all talk. We'll all be loving. Unfortunately, we went out longer, which meant more candy. And yeah, well, that's true. All right. I'll see you all later. Have a great day. We got this, you guys. Think positively. Cautious optimism. We got this.